Hey, if you're the individual that has their shorts down or their panties down, can you please do me a favor and put them on? More specifically, please put them on, Takamine-san. And that's an anime I'm going to be talking about today. So, yes, please put them on, Takamine-san, a brand new anime series, as you can see here. It is a brand new show to come out of the spring 2025 season by a little studio from Linden Films, and it's a show that I want to talk about today because as of late, the show has been like on a bit of like a controversial standstill at the moment, and I figured I might as well talk about it now as we're only two more episodes left. And at least for me, I only have two more episodes left to watch the show, and after that, there's nothing more I can really say or do to talk about it. So I'm gonna get this review out of the way and just talk about the show more or less, and trying it in a different format. So bear with me on this. So please put them on Talk Minutes on. This was a show that in the spring 2025 lineup, I went into the show with some pretty high expectations. Well, not really high expectations, but high expectations when it comes to like man, this could be the next best trashy anime of the year. And after all, we got some pretty big classics like Honey Lemon Soda that I was blown away by earlier this year. You also had the 100 Girlfriends Season 2 anime that was blown away this year. And then you had shows that, again, not too long ago I have talked about where either they're just okay or pretty boring for trying to be trashy in the worst way possible. So please put them on Takamine-san. I went in there with some pretty high hopes, hoping that it's gonna be a banger of a show. And I can confidently say, after watching, or almost watching every episode of the show up to this point, the show is just a tried true formula of a copy and paste of other shows that have done much better, but just a lot more watered down. In a way, the show, before I get to like the obvious of what the show's all about, the show is trying to be like Tonari no Seki-kun if Tonari no Seki-kun was really watered down, but also it's trying to be like Dangerous in My Heart Season 2 with the teasing aspects, but in the worst way possible, or any other teasing anime genre you can think of. So, without further ado, as you can see, transition from one screen to another, let's get into what the show is all about. What is the show that makes it so special, and why I beg you all to put your damn clothes on? And it's pretty simple. So it's basically about a girl named Takane Takamine who essentially is the main character of the show, and there is a guy named Shota Koshi who is essentially the other main protagonist. One day, as they were going into school, going to class like a normal typical anime school cliche fashion, we see I guess in a way something going on, a math problem going on, and Takamine-san is about to answer that math problem, but then something tragic happens, and she got spilled some water, some mystery fluids, and as a result of the humiliation that she decides to take off her panties, more or less, and in a way, she every time she takes off her panties, she reverses back to the moment of her desire. So basically, she's able to reverse time. That's kind of similar to like Subaru from ReZero, but if Subaru decides to go in the hentai route, basically. And every time she basically rewinds time, her panties, the one thing that she's wearing, is gone. It poof, it disappears. It's never gone. It's banished to the shadow realm. And the one person that wasn't affected by it was, again, our main character, Koshi Shirota, who basically witnessed it. And I guess in one of the rulings that once you witness her taking off her panties and remembering everything that's happened prior from before they got reversed back in time, you essentially retain the memories similar to how the main character is. But then, of course, as a result of Takamiya-san finding out that Koshi literally found out the whole thing, she decides to make a proclamation that, hey, if you want to keep this secret under wraps, I want you to be my closet. I want you to basically be the guy to hold my panties, hold my bra, which I'm going to get into the bra power aspect later. But basically, hold all my lingerie clothing so that whenever I need to travel back in time, I'm going to be able to make sure that I have upset on ready to go, because if not, I'm going to be exposed and be naked. I'm going to get abused like every hentai protagonist out there. And that's pretty much the gist of it. And after a little bit of blackmailing from the first episode, and then from that point forward, it just kind of repeats the same treachery format over and over and over with each new episode. And don't get me wrong, the concept is really cool. It's super trashy. Also, to also explain the bra power aspect, every time she takes off her bra, she literally somehow fast forwards time in a way that she's able to like get something done. It's so creative, I guess, but again, those are the two things you just have to keep in mind. Is that every time she takes her panties off, she reverses time. Every time she takes her bra off, she fast forwards into time. While at the same time, Koshi and Takamina is aware of the time being changed. And throughout these, I would say more specifically, throughout these 8 to 9 episodes, more specifically, we just see all these two characters doing what they do in like the most bare bones wasteland of an anime where the background just makes no fucking sense. It just feels like I'm watching wallpaper. I'm just watching paint just drying so damn slow. And even though there are some really raunchy and sexy and really beautiful, like oh my god, hubba hubba moments from Takemina herself, where she gets stripped butt ass naked. Sometimes she shows her fucking melon jonkers around and she goes ballistic. That's not really enough to really keep me swayed per se. Also, you have to keep in mind, you think of a concept of just fast forwarding time and reversing time, it's interesting, right? Like it's a time travel anime. No, it is not. The time traveling anime aspects of this is essentially her like reversing time because she screwed up on a math problem, or reversing time because she got water spilled on her favorite skirt, so now she has to reverse time to prevent that from happening. Or if in many cases in previous episodes where she does something super well. Let's say she solves like a really complex math problem. She decides, no, that's not enough. I'm going to reverse time again to make it more elegant and more dignified of an answer. And it's like, okay, now this is just being stupid and over the top. And like I said, I like my over the top humorous anime, but this is just ridiculous. In a way, it is just ridiculous. And meanwhile, our main character is just abusing our boy Koshi Shirota, who has become a closet of his own liking. And while it's really cool, it's really raunchy, again, it kind of goes into that sadistic kind of sexual feel that people might be interested in. This is just fucking sad. It's just really, really sad. Because throughout this whole show up to this point, Takemura essentially just does everything he can to just manipulate our main character, to just constantly like pressure him to do things that he doesn't want to do. Like especially one episode where they're trying to like Takamina wants to make sure that his closet goes to the same school as she is, and she doesn't want to. Or sorry, he doesn't want to do that because he doesn't have the money, he doesn't have the education for it, and Takamina essentially pressures him to do that to take summer school more or less. And I swear to God, I'm not making this up. Right where we're like within the last 3, 4 episodes of the show, we finally get another character that we can finally talk about outside of these two, which is Ellie Evergreen, which is essentially their best friend and long away. Like, why didn't she show up in the first place? Considering that when you watch the show, this show is super bare bones, super paper thin of a wasteland where it's just these two always interacting in school or at a mall or at each other's houses, and that's it. So, in a nutshell, please put them on Takamina-san. It's a fine anime. There are some good qualities of it that have it to be like, okay, this is like a really fun, trashy anime. But I'm left here wondering, like, why did I bother watching this show if really we're just repeating the same concept, we're repeating the same trope of the show over and over again? Because again, as I mentioned with like my Tonori no Sekikun example from earlier in this video, I was hoping that it would be a good standout. And that what made Tonari no Seki-kun stand out was that each episode repeated the same concept, but in a different twist and a different playthrough, which made it really, really interesting. In the case of this show, I didn't really get that at all. It was just repeating the same formula over and over again. And yes, while the final episodes are steering up to be like a really, oh my god, this is like a make or break moment kind of deal, it feels like it came in too fast, too late. And it's such a shame because, again, I was hoping Please Put Them On Takamine-san would be at least a good decent anime to watch. But instead, I feel like this is just one of the weaker, trashier animes come out of this year. So, in a nutshell, if I had to rate this show right now and what's going to be happening these last two episodes, I'm gonna have to honestly give this like a strong four, like a strong four. I can't see myself putting it any higher than a five, maybe not even a six. Because like I said, don't get me wrong, this show does have some really cool and funny, trashy anime moments, but I feel like it's just lacking like the direction. There's even moments in like the later episodes where we kind of lose that whole time traveling concept, and instead remember the power explanation about how she takes off her bra, she fast forwards in time? Sometimes, I swear to God, there was like an episode two where she took off her bra and she actually went backwards in time, completely contradicting what her stuff, her ability actually does. And overall, it's just it could have been a much funner anime. Honestly, I could have put this like a 6 or 7 out of 10 and it was a lot more fun. But this to me was just not good. It wasn't that like entertaining. And the only thing that's worth talking about is just that the character design is very sexy. It's raunchy. The voice acting for the show is actually really good and clean. But outside of that, there's just not a whole lot to really go by outside of the fact that it's just like another throwaway trashy show that for me might make it my best trash anime of the year, but I'm really optimistic to see if it really is going to make it. So yeah, just want to talk about this show, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.